We'll do chapter 23 from Canto 5, the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is called Sisumara planetary system. This we are going in outer space. So, Sukdev Goswami continued, my dear king, the 1,300,000 yojanas, which is 10.4 crore miles above the planets of the seven sages in the place that learned scholars described as the abode of Lord Vishnu. There the son of Maharaj Uttanpad, the great devotee Maharaj Dhruv, still resides as the life source of all the living entities who live until the end of the creation. Agni, Indra, Prajapati, Kashyapa and Dharma all assemble there to offer him honor and respectful obeisance. They circumambulate him with their right side towards him. I have already described the glorious activities of Maharaj Dhruv in the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Established by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pole star, which is the Dhruva Tara, which is the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, constantly shines as a central pivot for all the stars and planets. The unsleeping, invisible, most powerful time factor causes these luminaires to revolve around the pole star without cessation. This is exactly what I said to you. It is like a merry-go-round. You know, merry-go-round, the one which is caught in the center and it goes round, round, round. You know, you are sitting in one of the that small things, or maybe a horse, and then you are going round, 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 round like that. It's like that. Or should we call it a merry-go-round, or is it a carousel? Something like that. It is caught in the center somewhere. So a pole star is like the center point. When bulls are yoked together and tied to a central post in the thresh rice, this we have seen in our villages, The bull is tied in the central thing and he goes round and round. Full day he does the threshing. Threshing is done by them. Nowadays they have all the modern machinery, but in ancient times, today we have the same thing. They tread round that pivot without deviating from their proper position, which is a fact of life. They cannot because they are tied up. They are bulls who are tied up. They are tied bull. And when he gets angry, he becomes Red Bull. So, one bull being closest to the post, another in the middle, and third to the outside. Similarly, all the planets and all the hundreds and thousands of stars revolve around the pole star. The planet of Maharaj Dhruva in their respective orbits, some higher and some lower. Fastened by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the machine of material nature according to the results of their fruitive acts, they are driven round the pole star by the wind and will continue to do so until the end of creation. These planets float in the air without the vast sky, just as clouds with the hundreds of tons of water float in the air, or as the great Sienna eagles, due to the result of past activities, fly high into the sky and have no chance of falling to the ground. This is exactly like our Genesis, If you go by Genesis words, you will wonder, okay, what are they talking about? How can God be living somewhere on planet? So there is nothing like that, but understand these are certain things which have been taken into account for explaining to a very simple-minded human being. A simple-minded human being doesn't understand beyond a certain point. So he has to be told in a very simple language. That is why the bull, the bullock cart, this and that, and all those things have come into the picture. Otherwise, nobody is going to understand. This great machine, consisting of the stars and the planets, resembles the forms of Sishumara, which is a dolphin, in the water. It is sometimes considered an incarnation of Krishna, Vasudeva. Great yogis meditate upon Vasudeva in this form because of its actually visible. So we can also meditate on the divine form when we stand outside and you observe the universe outside. In the darkness, you can see the whole stars just above you and you can admire those stars and think about the Lord. This form of this dolphin has its head downwards and its body coiled. On the end of the tail is the planet of Dhruva, and on the body of its tail are the planets of the demigods Prajapati, Agni, Indra and Dharma, and at the base of the tail are the planets of the demigods Dhata and Vidhata. Where the hips might be on the Shishumara are the seven saintly sages like Vashishta and Angira. The coiled body of the Shishumara Chakra turns towards its right side on which the 14 constellations from Abhijit to Purnavasu are located. On his left side are the 14 stars from Pushya to Uttarsada. His body is balanced because its sides are occupied by the equal number of stars. On the back of the Shishumara is a group of stars known as the Ajaviti, and the abdomen of the Ganga that flows into the sky, that is the Milky Way. The Ganga is now explained in another language which is called the Milky Way. Alright, so come back to this line and think about it. What is it that is mentioned over there? We are flowing from the Ganga. So basically the whole of India is getting, its waters from Ganga river is what they are saying. It also tells you that Ganga is the source of life, source of joy to India. That is the reason why you will find that the planet Earth also has come from somewhere in the Milky Way. We don't know where it has come from. It has come from there. It is flowing in that. Now, if you actually look at this position of the stars and in the galaxies and so on and so forth, it is described how everything is towards the east and towards the west, towards the north and towards the south. It has been described, all the 7 Saptarishis, as we call them. Where are they? Where are the other planetary systems? Where are the other galaxies? They have been mentioned over there. I don't know much of astronomy, but at least this person knows too much of astronomy. So we have to just go by what he says. On the right and the left side of which the loins might be in the Shishumara Chakra are the stars named Purnavasu and Pushya. Adra and Adlesha are the right and the left. Abhijit and Uttarsada are its right and left nostrils. Shravana and Purvasada are its right and left eye. It's just like, if you see the Mesha or the Simha Rashi. Simha is the lion. Sa Rashi. Rashi is basically that particular zodiac. Now it is as if you draw a line and you complete the figure. Kumbha is that matka which they draw. Kumbha is matka. So they have fish, Pisces. So it's as if they have drawn a line and created an imaginary fish over there. There is no fish in Pisces, by the way. But they have created an imaginary fish over there. So that is the reason why we say Pisces. In the same way, this is the different kinds of. The 8 stars from the Magha to Anuradha, which mark the southern course, are in the ribs of the left of the body, and the 8 stars from Margashish to Purvabhadra, which marks the northern course, are on the ribs of the right. Satabhisha and Jeshta are on the right and the left shoulders. On the upper chin of the Shishumara is Agatsi, in his lower chin the Yamraja in his month, Mars on his genitals, Saturn in the back, in the neck Jupiter in his chest, the sun within the core of the heart Narayana. Within the mind is the moon, on his navel Venus, and on his breast the Ashwini Kumaras, while his life air, which is known as Pranapana, is Mercury. On the neck is Rahu, all over his body are comets, and his pores are the numerous stars. My dear king, it's like you are describing a dolphin. Imagine the dolphin shaped thing, and we are describing it, and we are taking points over it and saying, oh, this is the navel, oh, this is the head, oh, this is the ears, oh, this is like this, and oh, this is like that. So it's like that. It's an imaginary way of looking at it. Okay. So let us say this whole universe, like what is visible universe, visible in front of our eyes, is shaped like a dolphin. It's like pointing. In school we used to have this. Piece these dots together and create that image. We have done that in school and college. We'll put the dot, and we'll draw a line and complete the image. So it's like that. They have created this image of a dolphin in the sky. Okay, that is Shishumara. And you will find that there are various places where there is a navel, where is this, where is that. All these are different star systems. That, my dear king, the body of the Shishumara is thus described should be considered the external form of Lord Vishnu. Should be considered, doesn't mean that it is a form. Consider, just consider it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, morning, noon and evening, one should silently observe the form of the Lord as Shishumara Chakra and worship him with the mantra. O Lord, who has assumed this form of time, O resting place of all the planets moving in different orbits, O Master of all demigods, O Supreme Person, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you and meditate upon you. The body of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, which forms the Sushumara Chakra, is the resting place of all the demigods and of the stars and the planets. One who chants the mantra to worship the Supreme Person 3 times a day, morning, noon and evening, will surely be freed from all the sinful reactions. If one simply offers his obeisance unto the form or member this form 3 times a day, all the recent sinful activities will be destroyed. This ends the 5th canto, 23rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have another chapter which is subterranean heavenly planets. Okay, we will do this also. It's a small chapter again. It's nothing but describing the planetary system. I know it may be like astronomy students may be interested, but we require stories, to astronomy, no stories. So most of the people will be sleeping. At least you have to keep your eyes open like this and see. बोला नहीं देखेगा तो गुरु जी को लफड़ा हो जाएगा, तकलीफ हो जाता है. See, Sukdev Goswami said, my dear king, some historians, the speakers of the Puranas, say that 10,000 yojanas, which is 80,000 miles below the sun, is the planet known as Rahu, which moves like one of the stars. The presiding deity of the planet, who is the son of Simhika, is the most abominable of all the asuras. But although he is completely unfit to assume the position of the demigod or planetary deity, he has achieved the position of the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Later I shall speak further about him. This is a chapter which is chapter 24 of the Canto 5, the subterranean heavenly planets. So this is about the different planets that are there. The sun globe, which is the source of the heat, extends for 10,000 yojanas. The moon extends for 20,000 yojanas and the Rahu extends for 30,000 yojanas. Formerly, when nectar was being distributed, Rahu tried to create dissension between the sun and the moon by interposing himself between them. Rahu is inimical towards both the sun and the moon, and therefore he always tries to cover the sunshine and the moonshine in the dark moon day and full moon night. Rahu is an imaginary creature. There is no such person called Rahu and Ketu. Okay? So there are no stars like Rahu, Ketu and all that. We have just created an imaginary character. He is the one, it seems, who causes the eclipses. The eclipse happens because of the planetary positions. Either the moon comes in the middle, or the sun is covered, or the earth is covered, or something like that is happening. The earth, when its shadow falls on the moon, it creates an eclipse, isn't it? It's the same thing. Or when the moon comes in between the sun and the earth, there is an eclipse. It's as if the sun is getting eaten up by the moon. Nothing like that is happening, but we think like that. So these are the Rahu Ketu fellows who supposedly are imaginary creatures. There is no such person, but okay. After hearing from the sun and the moon demigods about Rahu's attack, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, engages his disc known as the Sudarshana Chakra to protect them. The Sudarshan Chakra is the Lord's most beloved devotee and is favored by the Lord. The intense heat of the effulgence meant for killing Vaishnavas, non-Vaishnavas, is unbearable to Rahu, and he therefore flees in the fear due of it. During the time Rahu disturbs the sun or the moon, there occurs what people commonly known as the eclipse. See, these people knew about the eclipse, but we have always put all these things into a perspective of, as if there is a Rahu and a Ketu and all that. There is a incidence for that, so we will come to that. Below Rahu by 10,000 yojanas are the planets known as Siddhaloka, Charnaloka and Vidyadhara Loka. Okay, beneath Vidyadhara Loka, Charnaloka and Siddhaloka is a sky called Antariksha, and the place of enjoyment for the Yakshas, Rakshasas, Pichasas, ghosts and so on. Antariksha extends as far as the wind blows and the cloud floats in the sky. About this there is no more air. So they knew also that there is vacuum in that place. There is no more air, that means there is vacuum over there. These guys are on planet Earth and yet they know about, that there is vacuum in the air and there is this loka and that loka. But so you will wonder, why have they given such kind of funny names to it? What do you mean by this? Think about it. There are Rakshasas and Yakshas and Pishachas, ghosts and so on. When you know so damn well that there is a vacuum over there and there are just planets and some bodies over there, what is it that makes the Rakshasas and the Pishachas and the Lokas come? That means they are talking about something else, isn't it? It tells you very nicely that it is actually they are describing something completely different. Below the abodes of the Yakshas and the Rakshasas by a distance of 100 yojanas is the planet Earth. Its upper limit extends as high as swans, hawks, eagles, and large birds can fly. My dear king, beneath the earth are 7 other planets known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tatala, Taratala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. I think I have already explained to you where these we are supposed to look for. I have already explained the situation of the planetary system of Earth. The width and the length of the 7 lower planetary systems are calculated to be exactly the same as that of Earth. In these 7 planetary systems, which are known as subterranean heavens, which is Bila Swarga, there are very beautiful houses, gardens, and places to enjoyment, which are even more opulent than those in the higher planets because the demons have a very high standard of sensual pleasure, wealth, and influence. Most of the residents of these planets, who are known as Daityas, Danavas, and Nagas, live as householders. These wives, children, friends, and society are fully engaged in illusory material happiness. The sense enjoyments of the demigods is sometimes disturbed by the residents of these planets enjoy life without disturbance, and they are understood to be very attached to the illusory happiness. My dear king, in these imitation heavens, known as Bilaswarga, there is a great demon named Maya Dana, who is an expert artist and architect. He has constructed many brilliantly decorated cities. There are many wonderful houses, walls, gates, assembly houses, temples, yards and temple grounds, compounds, as well as many hotels serving as residential quarters for foreigners. So there is tourism industry also over there. The houses of the leaders of these planets are constructed with most valuable jewels, and they are always crowded with living entities known as Nagas and Asuras. Think about it. All the politicians in the world have very big palaces, and they have Nagas and Asuras as their assistants. As well as many pigeons, parrots, and similar birds. Pigeons do what? Gudurgu. And parrots do? They imitate their bosses, okay? They say hello, and the parrot says hello. So we have all the yes men in this world around this politicos, isn't it? All in all, these imitation heavens cities are most beautifully situated and attractively decorated. The parks and the gardens in the artificial heavens surpass in beauty those of the upper heavenly planets. The trees in these gardens, embraced by creepers, bend with a heavy burden into twigs and flowers and fruits, and therefore appears extraordinarily beautiful. This beauty could attract anyone and make his mind fully blossom in the pleasures of sense gratification. There are many lakes and reservoirs with clear transparent water agitated by jumping fish and decorated with many flowers such as lilies, qualias, calaras, and blue and red lotuses. Pairs of chervakas and many other birds nest in the lakes and always enjoy with a happy mood, making sweet, pleasant vibrations that are very satisfying and conducive to enjoyment in the senses. Since there is no sunshine on these subterranean planets, time is not divided into days and nights, and consequently fear produced by time does not exist. Many great serpents reside there with gems on their hoods, and the effulgence of these gems dissipates the darkness in all the directions. Since the residents of this planet drink and bathe in juices and elixirs made from wonderful herbs, they are freed from all anxieties and physical diseases. They have no experience of grey hair, wrinkles, and invalidity. Their bodily lustres do not fade, their perspiration does not cause bad smell, and they are not troubled by fatigue or by lack of any energy or enthusiasm due to old age. So they knew about all these things also. So they live very auspiciously and do not fear death from anything but death established time, which is the effulgence of the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Sudarshana disc enters those provinces, the pregnant wife of the demons all have miscarriages due to fear of its effulgence. So you will find that all these things that we were talking about so far is describing planets which are very, very strange creatures. They don't seem to exist in this unique system of this planetary system, that is, and astronomy cannot describe it. My dear king, now I shall describe to you the lower planetary system one by one, beginning from Atala. In Atala there is a demon, the son of Maya Danav, called Bala, who created 96 kind of mystic powers. Some so-called yogis and swamis take advantage of this mystic power to cheat people even today. Simply by yawning, the demon Bala created 3 kinds of women known as Swarini, Kamini, and Pumschali. Now, this particular fellow, which is called Atala, okay, think about it. Where does he reside? And who is he? His name is Bala. Bala means strength. Bal. Bal means strength. And he is the son of Maya. Imaginary strength. Alright. So, this particular imaginary strength is used by yogis, who are the cheap kind of yogis and swamis. And what do they use this for? They use this kind of mystic power to cheat people. I tell you where this particular yogi, this particular Atala is, where the groin joins, groin, where it joins the thigh. That is the place where it is. Alright? They have sexual powers. They use sexual powers on three kinds of women. Who are the three kinds of women? Swairini, Kamini, and Pumaschali. The Swairini like to marry men of their own group. The Kaminis marry men from any group. And Pumaschalis change husband one after another. So these are the three kinds of women who are entrapped by this demon over there. If a man enters the planet of Atala, these women immediately capture him and induce him to drink an intoxicating beverage made from a drug known as hataka, cannabis. Okay, now cannabis, I think you all know what it is. This intoxicant endows the man with great sexual prowess, of which the woman take advantage of for enjoyment. A woman will enchant him with attractive glances, intimate words, smiles of love, and then embraces. In this way, she induces him to enjoy sex with her to her full satisfaction. Because of his increased sexual power, the man thinks himself stronger than 10,000 elephants and considers himself most perfect. Indeed, illusion and intoxicated by false pride, he thinks himself God, ignoring impending death. Now, this particular person believes he is in this domain called Atala. And these are the women who are actually entrapping him. We always see from the other point of view. The point of view which is always taken into account is that a man who is sexually very strong traps these women. But on the contrary, it is the other way around. The women are actually very stronger. They can entrap the person by their own glances or the way they behave, the way they enact, the way they portray themselves. The person is induced to do these kind of activities. Alright. The next planet around below Atala is Vitala, wherein Lord Shiva, who is known as the master of gold mines, lives with his personal associates, the ghosts and similar living entities. Lord Shiva is a progenitor engaged in sex with Bhavani, the progenitress, to produce living entities, and from the mixture of their vital fluid, the river named Hataki is generated. Hataki we just now did. Cannabis. When fire being made to blaze by the wind drinks by this river and then sizzles and spits it out, it produces gold called Hataka. The demons who live on that planet with their wife decorate themselves with various ornaments made from gold, and thus they live there very happily. Below the planet Vitala is another planet known as Sutala, where the great son of Maharaj Virochana, Bali Maharaj, it is the knee portion, Knee, knee, who is celebrated the most pious king, resides even now. For the welfare of Indra, the king of the heaven, Lord Vishnu appears by the form of a dwarf brahmachari as the son of Aditi, and tricked Bali Maharaj by begging for only 3 places of land by taking all the 3 worlds. Being very pleased with Bali Maharaj for giving up his possession, the Lord returned his kingdom and made him richer than the opulent king Indra. Even now, Bali Maharaj engages in devotional service by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the planet of Sutala. You know, that is the only place where we bend down. You go to church, where do you bend? On your knees. You go on your knees. You know, the knees are the only thing that touches the ground. Bali Maharaj was a great devotee of the Lord. So he is the only demon in the entire creatory system who bows down to the Lord. And we think Bali Maharaj and somebody else will be there. No, you think about it. When you actually bend your knees to the Lord, when you do kneel down we say no. Kneeling down is a part of reverence. We are revering the God. We are saying, God, please help me. So when you kneel down on your knees, bend down on your knees, हम लोग वही बोलते हैं ना. The knees are the thing that touches the ground. Okay, nothing else touches. So none of the demons in this planetary system are going to bow down to the Lord except the knees. Okay, so we'll continue. So now he is the great boss of this domain called Sutala. My dear king, Bali Maharaj donated all his possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaman Dev. For one should certainly not concede that he achieved his great worldly opulences in Bilaswarga as a result of charitable disposition. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the source of life for all living personalities, lives within everyone as the friendly super soul, and under his direction is the living entity enjoys or suffers in the material world. Greatly appreciated the transcendental qualities of the Lord, Bali Maharaj offered everything at the lotus feet. His purpose, however, was not to gain anything material, but to become a pure devotee. For a pure devotee, the door of liberation is automatically opened. One should not think that Bali Maharaj has given so much material opulence merely because of his charity. When one becomes a pure devotee in love, he will be blessed with the good material position by the will of the Supreme Lord. However, one should not mistakenly think that the material opulence of a devotee is the result of his devotional service. The real result of devotional service is the awakening of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which continues under all circumstances. Now, so such big line we read. I'll give you the essence of the line. If somebody gets money, becomes rich, becomes opulent, becomes very great in this world, or is everything, you know, he becomes a great actor or a director or somebody like that, or a very big person, politician or this or that, please don't think that he is a devotee of the Lord. No. He is somebody whom God has been kind enough to bestow that thing. He is not close to God at all. So even in his past life, when he was praising God to the heavens, at that time God gave him some opulence in this life. Some money, some power, something like that was given to him. See, the last line is extremely. When one becomes pure devotee in love, he will be blessed with a good material position by the will of the Supreme Lord. Only when you become a devotee of the Lord that something else comes in your way. Otherwise, the things which we are talking about will not come. Only for a devotee, the door of liberation is opened. And a devotee is a person who doesn't ask for money or opulence or grandeur or anything like that. Doesn't ask for it. Please understand this. And a devotee doesn't ask for all these things. However, one should not mistakenly think that the material opulence of a devotee is a result of devotional service. If the devotee has got money, doesn't mean that it has come because of his devotional service. Did you understand this? The devotee is not given money by the Lord. So if anybody who wants to become a devotee and thinks that God is going to give them money, they are mistaken. Money is not equal to devotion. Money is away from devotion. He is getting the money because of his karmic acts. And karma has nothing to do with devotion, sir. So don't mix up these two. Karma is separate, devotion is separate. Money coming is associated with karma, And devotion is associated with love for God. That's it. And love for God is the only way of liberation, not anything else. So if you are thinking that getting liberated, only love for God, the devotion to Him is the only way of liberation. So the real result of devotional service is the awakening of the pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which continues under all circumstances. So money, opulence, wealth, richness, this, that, grandeur, glory, it has nothing to do with devotion. Don't you ever think about devotion is equal to all those things. No. Love and devotion will only give you liberation. That's it. Nothing beyond that. No money and all. What? There is no Bank of Lakshmi Limited over there. Illa. The Bank of Lakshmi got left behind outside. In Karma Bank, the Bank of Lakshmi is there. You understand? Karma Bank. Bank of Karma Limited, he has got Lakshmi sitting over there as the big boss. If you come towards God, towards the Divine Lord, that is the Father in heaven or Krishna, and you think that he is going to give you, well, Lakshmi, oh, you have come to the wrong department, karke bolenge tumko. No Lakshmi there, no money, no opulence. So when you enter from there, no, you already have your karma with you, so you will have the money with you. Otherwise, that also is illa. No. So, one who is embarrassed by hunger and who falls down or stumbles chants the holy name of the Lord even once, willingly or unwillingly, is immediately freed from the reaction of the past deeds. Karmis entangled in material activities face many difficulties in the past of mystic yoga and other endeavors to achieve such freedom. Those who are on the path of karma, for them to enter the path of liberation is the most difficult thing in the world. So please understand, first and foremost, your karma needs to be minused out. Tak, 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 tak. It has to be removed. So, this is like erasable memory. You need to erase it. But you know, erasable memory has one very big defect. There are those people who can recover it, isn't it? There is a recovery process even after deleting the information. So where is the question of rewriting? Sir, your hard drive only has to be replaced. And it should be replaced not by a hard drive. Maybe it has to be that solid state SSD. Nothing remains over there. Everything goes whoosh like that. So think about it. So anything that is associated. See, this is where the whole problem is. If there is a karmi means somebody who has performed karma. Okay, karma. So you got money, you got children, you got wife and husband, or this or that is all associated with your karma. Don't mistake this karma to the devotion part. Karma is different. Only after a certain amount of karma is getting minus, that the Lord will come and stand in front of you. To see him is the most difficult thing. You will think he is some Aira Gaira Nattu Kaira, like that kind of a person. We don't even know who he is. Alright. So he looks like a comedian sometimes. So he comes and stands in front of you and you will wonder, oh, who is this comedian who is standing in front of you? Sir, he is somebody completely different. Karmis entangled in material activities face many difficulties in the practice of mystic yoga. Mystic yoga means devotion and love. This is the yoga which gives you the liberation in this life. So don't mix up these two, okay? Only when your karma becomes minus, that the Lord will come and stand in front of you to take you out of this and other endeavors to achieve the same freedom. The same freedom will not come to karmis. Okay? This is a difficult verse, by the way. To understand this verse, it will take certain time. Let me give it to you this way, that none of our parents, nobody can ever get out of this, because they are karmic people. They have enough karmas to their credit that they have never met the Divine Lord. Never met the Divine Lord. So the question of entering into Meeting him is difficult. It's like, think about it. Now you are staying in United States and people will say, oh, Narendra Modi has come to United States. Okay, so you are going to meet him, huh? No, no, no. You can only see him in television, sir. Or maybe in your laptop or something like that. You are actually not going to meet him, no? So like that, the Lord also gives you a flying visit to America. Like that, Lord also comes in your life somewhere far away and says, hi, I've come to a place, and goes away. So, the Lord himself has visited our parents, but they don't know about his visit because it's like in a near distant vision. बहुत दूर से दिखता है, दिखता भी नहीं है. They just have an idea that there is somebody like that. Beyond that, there is no interaction with him. So do you understand? So karmis, people those who are involved in karmic activities have hardly any time for doing this. Those who have met the Lord, those who have actually physically seen him, they are generous, they have been given the vision of the Lord by the Lord appearing in their world, and they should be very happy because most of the karma which they are having just now, no new karma is getting added, but the old one is getting minused. You got what I'm saying? No new one is getting added, old one is all getting minus. It's going at a fast rate, like that. You don't know when it's going to end. It may end today also, for all you know, who knows. So like that, it's a fast forward, like FF, fast forward. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, is the Super Soul, sells himself to his devotees such as Narad Muni. Think about it. The Lord is selling himself. He's a salesman. He tells Narad Muni, will you buy me? Now do you understand what I meant by the Lord standing in front of you? Okay. And the person doesn't even know that he is a Lord, and yet he is trying to sell himself. I am here, please help me, I'll help you get out of this, sir. Please help me, And then you look at this bhikari type of person standing in front of you. Oh, you, what is this? I cannot help you. And the ego comes into the play. And you do not recognize the Lord standing in front of you like a poor man, Think about it. I mean, think about Jesus. Jesus was wearing simple clothes and beard and going around, like that. With very simple. Who will recognize him? Who will recognize him? And just imagine Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Can anybody recognize him? He's just coming like like that. He's having one pan in his mouth and all chewing in. Imagine coming and standing in front of you and you are wondering, what is this old man coming and doing over here? So he'll try to sell himself to you. That is what he does. Every time he'll come and he'll give you some funda about, selling himself. Always know this. Huh? The Lord appears and he tries to sell himself to you. In other words, the Lord gives pure love to such devotee and gives himself to those who love him purely. The only way of recognizing the Lord is he is only love incarnate. He gives love to everybody. He is the only person who spreads love like that. There is no anger, there is no greed, there is nothing in this world for him to achieve. What else he can give? He can give only pure love, and that is what he gives. Great self-realized mystic yogis such as the four Kumaras also derive great transcendental bliss from realizing the super soul within themselves. Only great people can recognize this Lord who is spreading love like nobody's business. He just keeps on giving love. The Supreme Personality of Godhead did not award his mercy to Bali Maharaj by giving him material happiness and opulence, for they make one forget loving service to the Lord. This is exactly what I told you. If you are going to ask for money and all that, the Lord is not going to give you. You want devotion, no money. Nothing. No money, no opulences, no nothing. The result of material opulence is that one can no longer absorb his mind in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The moment you have money and opulences and the very good, bank balances and all, no, God is not going to be with you at all. He is going to disappear. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead could see no other means of taking everything away from Bali Maharaj, he adopted the trick of begging from him and took away all the three worlds. The Lord comes as a beggar. He will have no money. He will look like a Vaman avatar. Vaman avatar means somebody who is lula langda and type that, hey, Baba, deta hai kya thoda sa. You know, like that. He will come like a bhikkhari type of a person and he will look at you and he will say, oh my God, this is the Lord or what? Thus only the body was left, but the Lord was still not satisfied. He arrested Bali Maharaj, bound him by the rope of Varuna and threw him in the cave of the mountain. Nevertheless, although his property was taken, he was thrown into the cave Bali Maharaj with such a great devotee that he spoke as follows. Alas, how pitiable is it for Indra, the king of the heaven, that although he is very learned and powerful, and although he chooses Brihaspati as the prime minister to instruct him, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. Who? Think about it. Indra, which is the mind, is under the instructions of Brihaspati. Intellect, the great intellect who has got all the knowledge in the world, who teaches all the gods in the world. He is the teacher of all the gods. Remember, intellect. Even then, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. If somebody uses the mind and wants to achieve God, zero, he is going to get big zero. No achievement of God by using mind. Brihaspati, knowledge. Lot of knowledge, lot of intellect. Illa. Brihaspati is also unintelligent because he did not properly instruct his disciple Indra. Who is this unintelligent? The intellect is also called unintelligent because he is teaching the wrong kind of things, wrong kind of people. This is called intellect devoid of discretion. Indiscretion. You can teach anybody. Chal tu bhi aaja. You cannot teach spirituality to wrong kind of people. Understand this. Try teaching spirituality to somebody who doesn't even give a damn about the God. That egoistic person will say, what the hell are you talking about? You don't understand anything. So it's like teaching Indra, you know. It's the wrong kind of person to be taught spirituality. Lord Vamandev was standing at Indra's door, but King Indra, instead of begging him for an opportunity to render transcendental loving service, engaged him in asking for alms to gain the three worlds for his sense gratification. Sovereignty over the three worlds is very insignificant because whatever material opulence one may possess lasts only for an age of Manu, which is but a tiny fraction of endless time. If somebody has the opulence and if somebody has the money, it's only going to last for one lifetime only. Beyond that, nothing is going to come to him. Bali Maharaj said, my great-grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is the only person who understood his own self-interest. Upon the death of Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu Lord Narsimha went to offer Prahlad the father's kingdom and even wanted to grant him liberation from material bondage. But Prahlad accepted neither liberation nor material opulence, he thought, as obstacles to devotional service. So, understand, only intelligent person in this Asuras is Prahlad. He doesn't ask for money, he doesn't ask for anything. And he only asks for devotional service, that's it. And therefore such gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not actual mercy. So if somebody asks for God for money and he gives money, it is not mercy. You are like any other Tom, Dick, Harry, Jones, you are nobody. So, consequently, instead of accepting the results of karma and jnana, Prahlad Maharaj simply begged the Lord for engagement in the servant to become his servant. Bali Maharaj said, persons like us who are still attached to material enjoyment or are contaminated by the material modes of nature and who lack the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot follow the supreme path of Prahlad Maharaj, the exalted devotee of the Lord. Sukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, how shall I glorify the character of Bali Maharaj? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of the three worlds, who is most compassionate of his own devotee, stands with a club in his hand at Bali Maharaj's door. When Ravana, the powerful demon, came to gain victory over Bali Maharaj, Vamandev kicked him a distance of 80,000 miles with his big toe. I shall explain the character and activities of Bali Maharaj later in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The story is still not started. We are just doing the planetary system. Understand this. We are not doing anything else. Planetary system is nowhere outside. It's inside of us. Don't forget these words. Beneath the planet planet known as Sutala is another planet called Talakal, which is ruled by the Danava demon named Maya. Maya is known as the Acharya, master of all the Mayavis, who can invoke the power of sorcery. For the benefit of the three worlds, Lord Shiva, who is known as Tripurari, once set fire to the three kingdoms of Maya, but later being pleased with him, he returned with the kingdom. Since that time, Mayadana has been protected by Lord Shiva, and therefore he falsely thinks that he need not fear the Sudarshan Chakra or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The planetary system below Talatala is known as Mahatala. It is the abode of many hooded snakes, descendants of Kadru, and who are always very angry. The great snakes who are prominent are Kahuka, Takshaka, Kaliya, and Susena. The snake in the Mahatala are always distributed by the fear of Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu. And although they are full of anxiety, some of them never play sport with their wives, children, friends, and relatives. Now you want to know where the hell is this place? You know, I am sure you have heard of carpals, metacarpals. No? They are called the phalanges. These are called the phalanges, isn't it? Ah, like that we have in our feet also. You know, I am sure you have seen ghosts. If not ghosts, at least a skeleton you must have seen. Where all those things are branching out, you know. All the toes are branching out. That is a place. This is a place described. And the one before, the one which we described before, where, who is there? The great person is there. The demon named Maya stays over there. Okay? That is the heel. And this is the carpals and the metacarpals which go, they go outside like that. Right? So that is the second last one. Alright, so these are like the snakes, no? Are they not going out like a snake? Multi-hooded snake like that, twink like that is coming out. If you actually see, it looks like a snake. Your bone is there, you know, and to the bone are attached, this feet is attached like that, twink like that. And at the bottom over here is this other, the demon's land, and this is another demon's land. Got it? So, the snake of Mahatala always disturbed by the fear of Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, but although they are full of anxiety, some of them never play sport with their wife, children, friends, and relatives. Beneath Mahatala is the planetary system known as Rasatala, which is the abode of the demonic sons of Diti and Danu. They are called Panis, Naivetakavas, Kalayas, and Hiranyapurnavasis, those living in the Hiranyapura. They are all enemies of the demigods and they reside in holes like snakes. From birth, they are extremely powerful and cruel. And although they are proud of their strength, they are always defeated by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who rules all the planetary systems. When a female messenger from Indra named Sarama chants a particular curse, the serpentine demons of Mahatala become very afraid of the Indra. The last one also I'll tell you. Okay. Beneath Rasatala is another planetary system known as Patala or the Nagaloka. It is the bottom, the feet, the bottom. Okay. Where there are many demonic serpents, the masters of the Nagaloka, there is Sankaka, Mahansanka, Sweta, Dhananjaya, Dhritarashtra, Sankachuda, Kambala, Aswastara, and Devadatta. The chief among them is Vasuki. They are all extremely angry and they have many hoods, such snakes. Some snakes 5-hooded, some 7, some 10, others 100 and 1000. These hoods are bedecked with valuable gems, and the light emanating from the gems illuminate the entire planetary system of the Bilaswarga. So, at the bottom of the feet is the last one. Okay, so this explains to you all the patals in this world. Right, and I think you got a fair understanding of how these patalas are. Now think about the planetary system. So you think there is some nowhere, it's all within you. Alright, so now any questions, or otherwise I can stop over here. I'll stop now.